Rolling. All right. All right. I'm so excited. Thank you so much again for doing this. This is so thrilling. Let's start off with the first couple questions. For those of you who have not seen these interviews yet, I have a list of questions that we're going to go through. Martha has been amazing to agree to go through them with me. Let's get started. We'll do name, location, and a weird fact about yourself.
All right. Well, my name is Martha Krejci. The last name is a little bit rough on people, and I totally understand that. There are a lot of consonants and not as many vowels, right? So it's pronounced Krejci. I'm from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, from Central Illinois, but live in Eastern Iowa at this point. So lateral move, still corn. It's all still Midwestern corn. And then one weird fact about myself is I don't often tell people this, but I am 100% a sucker for Real Housewives of almost anywhere. I prefer Atlanta because they get a little extra saucy. I don't know what it is. It's like I don't live it in my own life, but like whenever I see it, I'm like, oh girl, you better work right now, right?
Oh my
like
gosh.
that's
When I saw that you put that, I cracked up because I started watching Real Housewives of New Jersey when I was still in high school and college with my mom, and we just like died over these women because honestly, we have family in Jersey, and like my cousins can get to that level sometimes, and I was like, this is so intense and so not. So I get it.
right. I think it's the same reason people like Springer did so well. It's like it's a stark contrast to me and my 5-year-old, my husband hanging around in the house, right? Like it's so in stark contrast. But I'm just like, man, like whatever.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. That was the best. I like totally cracked up when I saw that. I was like, that's a good one. Okay, so I asked the next two questions for a specific reason. So I asked rank and then I asked your current rank. And my goal for that was to kind of, so in Young Living, we have the ranks. In a lot of network marketing businesses, there are ranks. And what people don't realize is that sales companies outside of network marketing, so like the Gap, Target, things like that. Hold on one second. I need to yell at the cat. Stop scratching the walls. Ooh, we're all going crazy in the house. Is that they also have tiers, and while they don't call them ranks, it's still tiers of sales that they drop in and out of. And so while you might be same rank as when you got to and what you're holding, I kind of wanted to normalize if you maybe have hit a higher rank and you're now at a lower rank, or vice versa, that the fluctuation is normal. I think across this business, people have such a like, oh God, I dropped back in rank, and I'm hoping to show that it happens and that we're all gone through it, and like it's not a make or break deal. So I asked, what is your current rank and what is the highest rank that you have ever achieved?
So the highest rank I ever achieved was gold, and I hit that in 6 months, and that's where I am right now, and I'm on my way to platinum. But I do want to speak to that. But I do want to speak to what you're saying, because there was a video that went around, and man, I can't remember her name, but she did a really good video a couple of months ago, and it went crazy. And she was talking about how OGV is really what matters. Like when you're looking at paycheck stuff, OGV matters over rank. Rank is more, you unlock different ways to make money and things like that. Like you unlock different incentives. But really, rank has a lot to do with your legs performing, and you only have really that much to do with somebody else's willpower and what they choose to do with their business. So if you're taking all of the weight of what, like that much control that you actually have over somebody else in their business, but you're putting it all on yourself and like sort of hyperventilating over, I need to keep this rank, just like, like woo-saw it out, chill out, because as long as you're building your business, you're continuously talking to people about business and leadership and all of those things, you're going to build up other builders. And then, you know, and then they're going to sort of like take the place of each other is what, you know, some will take off and some won't, and whatever. That's their journey. But don't stress out and have some sort of mild heart attack based on their journey. Understand that, like, as long as you're just mitigating your OGB and you're taking care of your team, that's really all that you can do. And to stress out about losing rank while taking care of your team. Now, if you're not taking care of your team and you're losing rank, then yeah, there's something to talk about there, right? There is. I mean, you do need to make sure that you're having open communication and things like that. But if you're doing the best you can and you lose rank, don't sweat it. Just keep doing the best that you can. It's not that big of a deal.
I think the video you're referring to is Christy Rose.
It is.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about. And that honestly was a big mindset changer for me. And I will try to get when I had that, because that's a great video. And for those who have not seen it yet, she just quickly summarizes how maybe stacking for OGV and for paycheck growth might serve you and your team and your mindset and kind of everything better than stacking for rank. And I it's true, we get caught up in the rank because it's fun. It's a fun thing. Like, oh my gosh, and it's a fun, it's a self-satisfying thing. Like, oh my gosh, I hit blank. But ultimately, like, what does that mean should matter more than what that is. And I just, I love to highlight that because I've totally fallen trap and totally fallen victim to that. Like, no, you know, lies over here. I've totally been like, oh gosh, I'm just this. And then it doesn't, like you said, as long as we're serving people and as long as we're achieving for what we're doing for our teams, I think that's the real winner right there.
Yes. Yes. Agreed.
All right. So what did you do as a profession either before Young Living, or are you still doing something right now?
Yeah. So I'm a professional business strategist and digital marketer. And to a lot of people, they're going to be like, oh, what did she just say? Right? What was all of that? Basically, I've helped corporations find additional revenue streams, like how they can monetize better and find different ways to monetize. And then also I teach families and individuals how to do it now, like income streams, and obviously Young Living being one of them. And then for digital marketing, you know, Facebook ads, all of the ways to digital market, all of the ways to get people's attention, become the authority, all of those things. Like that is what I've helped companies do and individuals do for a really long time. I don't really do so much of the digital marketing side of it with the outside world anymore. Now I teach Young Living distributors how to be able to build their own business and not through Facebook ads or anything, but like build their own business through systems. But yeah, that's the professional business strategist. I have a consultation today after this for a couple of hours that will be going over strategies and things like that for him, because this world is crazy.
Yes.
So things have shifted, and now they want to have some questions answered. So that's what I do.
That's awesome. Okay, what is your favorite product?
Ooh, girl. So the Ningxia Red is my jam. It's what even brought me into wanting to build a business with Young Living. I came into Young Living not for the business. Long story short, I'll try to make it short anyway. I was with that other company. I didn't know anything about Young Living. It's not like I made the decision between them and us, and I was like, oh, I want to go with that. Like, I didn't know. And I was with them for 8 years, never built with them, anything like that. Somebody just barked down the chain to me, tell me promos every month. Finally, I got tired of hearing them just bark promos at me, and I found out that a friend of mine was with Young Living. And so I came over here and I started with Master Formula and a Savvy Kit. And then I found out about Ningxia Red, and it helped me. I know this is getting into another question, so I'll back off that. But it helped me in amazing ways. And then I was like, oh, okay, So you're saying that like you can build a business with this, you can't get this anywhere else. And then I was like, okay, yeah,
And that kind
I
of
can do
leads,
this.
I want you to go right into your next thing, which the next question was, what is, if you have like, some people call them aha moments or a God thing, like I'm hearing that Ningxia Red was your thing.
Oh, 100% yes. So I had done keto, and say what you will about keto, it works for some people, it doesn't work for others depending on your body, right? I had tried to do keto a few different times, and just kept, I had problems with binging. I would binge on food a lot, and I would diet for a couple of weeks, and then I would binge because I just, it was like my body just needed something else, right? Or it felt like it needed something else. And I don't know if you've ever read those sheets that say, whenever you're craving this, you actually need this. You know, like, and some of them are dirt. And I'm like, well, I've never craved dirt. But aside from that, you know, craving chocolate, you actually need this, and craving this, you need this. That's actually what your body is missing from a mineral and nutrient standpoint. And that's what was happening to me. Looking back now, that's what was happening, is I wasn't nutritionally balanced. So I couldn't keep doing it, because then I would crave at the end of like a week and a half or 2 weeks, I would crave a lot of stuff. And so I would end up, you know, going to Starbucks, getting a venti, all the crap. And then like everything, just put it all in one. And then like, you know, you go to McDonald's, here's what I used to get, like a number 2, no pickles and a Coke. Like I needed all of that. And then I would go get donuts. It was just a whole thing. Anyway, so, and then I would sit in the car and eat it by myself. That's a whole nother issue. But thank God I found Ningxia though, because I've stopped doing that. And the reason why is because I'm nutritionally balanced now. So I'm getting the nutrients and the minerals and all of those things. I'm able to do keto, and I do it with Ningxia, and Ningxia has allowed me to really be able to do that. So whenever that worked so well for me, I lost like 60 pounds. And whenever that worked so well for me, I was like, oh my goodness. And then knowing that it wasn't available anywhere else, I was like, this is like an unfair advantage, right? Like this is pretty much like, okay, so you can only get this here. Also, it works really well. Where do you want to sign up? Right? Like it pretty much is very, very easy. So, so that was my aha moment. And then kind of the rest is just history at that point. Yeah.
All right, hold on. I have to pause you for 1 second because my cat is literally breaking into the door right now. Hold on, guys.
That's funny.
Hey, could you not? Hello? Yeah, I swear. Oh, goodness. I don't know if anybody walks their cat, but I'm starting to think maybe I should, or release him into the backyard or something. He's getting a little bit too comfortable with me being home. That's amazing though. I honestly want to talk to you more about that offline personally, because that's kind of, I'm like hearing echoes of my own story, and I love Ningxia, and I also don't drink it consistently. And I try to have it in the house, and my wife actually is better about it than I am, which I crack up because she was so anti at first. She was like, that stuff is gross. Like, what are you doing? Like, and now I just find, like I prefer the bottles, but she likes the pouches because she's on the move a lot. And I just find those little tabs from the all over the house, all in her car. I'm like, do you throw these away? She's like, yeah, I do, but I drink 2 or 3 of them a day. And I was like, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with her. 2, 3, 4 a day. That's just yesterday. Mike was like, you had a lot of Ningxia today. And I'm like, and like that. Yeah, you're right.
Can I tell you, so I went to convention for the first time this year, and one of the highlights was the Ningxia bars, to be able to just run up and grab. And I actually bought, like, a first day there, I bought like a ton of Ningxia and brought it back to the hotel so we could have some like in the evenings. And I think I came off of that week like vibrating with like good health and energy.
Yes.
And sure, you know, being surrounded by thousands of people with what on them had something to do with it as well. But I think part of that was just like consistently drinking.
Got a call.
Still there? Okay.
Yep.
I'm back. My mom called me.
It's always the moms.
Consistently drinking Ningxia every day was like, oh my gosh, it was like a whole like wash of good. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And I think it is something that only we have, which is crazy when you think about it. And I say that to people all the time. I'm like, oh, we have the, you know, the highest antioxidant drink. And they're like, really? I'm like, oh yeah, just,
yeah.
I was like, let me just pour you a shot.
Yes. It's insane. People are like, how does this not have caffeine in it? That's what I hear a lot. And I'm like, listen, you're just feeding your body what it needs. Your body's just like, thank you for giving me that, right? Instead of all of whatever. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Nanks are so good. That's a great story too. Like just to know like that happened. And I would, hearing that story, I would like if I wasn't involved with Young Living would be questioning why I wasn't already, because why wouldn't you want that for your health? So
right.
Let's move into some business questions, which I know is totally your sphere.
Yeah.
Okay, so what traits or skills do you think are needed to move forward in this business?
Okay, so the very first thing that people need, or you tend to get stuck on the starting line, the very first thing that you need is 100% self-development. And this is on a daily basis. So this is like, if it's reading a book, if it's taking a course, if it's whatever it is, 30 minutes a day is my rule. 30 minutes a day. And I'll do it sometimes whenever I'm putting my makeup on. Like I'll have, you know, like a book on my phone that's just playing while I'm putting my makeup on. You can double duty. I mean, like we as women double duty on stuff all the time, right? So just find time to be able to consume knowledge, because if you don't do that self-development, I know that a lot of people speak on this, and it's because it's so important. If you don't do that self-development, you may quickly inflate to a new rank or something like that. But then after the newness of that rank and the excitement of that wears off, you're going to have something that happens mentally that's going to release an unworthiness. You're gonna deal with, if you didn't deal with self-development on the way up, you're gonna have to deal with it up there, because you're gonna lose everything, because you're going to have to fight your own mind at that point. So what is important is that we're developing ourselves as we go. So then whenever we get up there, then it's like, you know, it's just, well, of course we're here, and that's totally fine. But yeah, self-development, daily learning, and then also just it's continual growth, and then also just a reassessment of what is working and what's not necessary. And that's in your business, you guys. Like it requires an openness and an objectivity whenever you're looking at your business. Because a lot of us, especially in network marketing, I'm finding this is my very first time ever building in network marketing, but what I'm finding is that people attach their business to themselves, because essentially it is part of your identity. Because in network marketing, they're buying from you as a person, you know, by proxy of, or they're buying from Young Living by proxy of you, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to be able to step back from your business and look at the things that you're doing and have that objectivity to look at it, disconnect from good, bad, right, wrong, disconnect from it and look at it and say, okay, is this working? Is this working? Is this working? Is this working? Because the worst thing that you could do is just continue doing something because you were told to continue doing it, but not actually be checking on it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly to make sure that it's actually producing results. Because if it's not producing results, it's not sustainable and it's not a business even. You need to be producing results or else you're not going to be continuing and you're not growing. But you need to be able to look at it and reassess and then say, okay, let me pivot, right? Like the Friends thing, pivot. Like it's we need to be able to pivot whenever necessary. So those are two huge things.
Yeah. And those are great because it's true. I think that a lot of the times we get stuck and then we're like, and it's so funny you said pivot because that's what I was thinking when you were talking and then you said it out loud. That's great. And I feel like you all have that, like that poster, just that pivot, like.
Yeah.
All right. So what is one thing that you do or did every day or still do, or at least consistently to grow your business?
Yeah. So one thing that, one of the biggest things that I do daily is that I still continue to reach out to people. I have always done it and I will always do it. I reach out to 10 people a day is usually my number. Right now, I'm actually reaching out to closer to 25 just because the need is so strong currently. There are a lot of people in positions of potential mental instability. And I'm not a therapist or anything, right? I'm not a therapist or anything, but I can be here to listen, right? I can be here to hear you. And there are even, friends of mine already in the business that I reached out to. I reached out to a good friend of mine last night and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? I just need to know how you are. And it's not because she's on my team or anything like that. It's just because I care about her. And that's the kind of stuff that we always need to be doing, but it's what has always grown my business. So some people have grown their business with classes and that's awesome. I've grown my business online. So I personally enrolled over 150 people last year. Not one through a class. All of it was online. And it was all because I built relationships with people and I follow up with people. And quite frankly, I just give a rip, right? Like I just care. And so I reach out, ask them how they're doing. We have conversations and then we move into like, if there's something I can help them with external to Young Living, then I do that. If there's connections I can help them make external to Young Living, then I do that. If an answer for them is a Young Living product or something, then I do that. Yeah. So like, it's not like you're going after them and like this sort of like, what is it? I almost said a shark in a lamb suit, and that would have been really sideways. I think a wolf in sheepskin is what I meant to say.
I think I like the other one better. Okay.
Either way, same idea, predator, fluffy. So like, but like, it's not like you're going after people like that. You're going in service. You're going to be able to serve them. And if serving them is something external to Young Living, then it is. But we know that we can certainly serve people with Young Living. And there's a lot of things that we'd be able to show up in service for. And there are ways to do it that aren't, sideways and feel yucky and all of that stuff. So, but yeah, that's my thing, is definitely to reach out to a certain number of people a day. And for everybody, that's going to be different. Sometimes people sustainably can reach out to 5 people a day. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 2. My only suggestion is don't let it be 0 because that doesn't scale. That's the only thing you can't do is 0.
I love that. And I think it just speaks back to serving people and kind of connecting. And that's really what this business is built on, no matter how you connect, but that just one-on-one. And I love that you recognize that the need is higher right now, because it truly is. Like, we are all, and you said, and not everybody saw this, but you said like, you were kind of quarantined. So this wasn't super abnormal for you. But for some, like, I go to the office every day. I still work full time and see my coworkers, and I see my family all the time, and our neighbors are our best friends. And we, cross back and forth. And now we're like Post-it note on the window to each other. And that's hard.
Oh man.
It's so hard. And so I love that you recognize that the need is there, because it really is. And I think that watching those not trends, because this is not a trend, hopefully this does not continue, but watching those that need arise and addressing it is what grows you. And I think that's what makes you a very successful leader. So
thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so what values do you want your team to uphold, and what values do you lay out for them or yourself?
Yeah, so our main value, it's gonna sound right in line with everything else, because our value, it could just be service to others, period. Like that's my team culture. It's the values that I hold near and dear. But the thing is as leaders, we set the tone, and you set the tone good or bad, you guys. So if you're going to set the tone of lack scarcity, then you're setting the tone of lack scarcity. Okay. And that's going to roll downhill. Now, if you set the tone of service to others, I'm always showing up in service. I talk to my team about showing up in service. They show up in service. They talk about doing it. That's like, it's a mindset shift. It's not sales. It's not some like weird slimy thing. It's how did you show up today? How were you able to serve today? And the way that feels very different to sort of like any sort of sales organization is you feel good whenever you lay your head down at night, right? You don't feel like sort of that anxiety of, did I hit this rank? And did I, like, that anxiety isn't as much. I'm not going to say it's gone, but it's not as much, because you're more concerned with who you served. You're more concerned with what you did in somebody's life than the paycheck and the rank. Now, the paycheck and the ranks come with it. That is like a by proxy, like that just happens with it, right? But if our mindset is paycheck coming into the game, like if we came to it with an energy of, I'm looking to make money, right? If you come into it that way, you will not be successful. And if you come into it from service to others, you will absolutely be successful, and you will be making those paychecks, and you'll wonder where in the heck all of this money is coming from. It's crazy, because you're like, but I'm not even, but you are doing things, but you don't feel like you're doing things.
Yeah. And I love that. I think that's that should be kind of like, that's the core of this business is service and love. So I love that that's the value you said. That's like our main thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just signed somebody up. Woo!
Yeah.
What do you do next?
All right. Well, so I would have to take one step back before we move forward. So before I sign anybody up, I always have a long conversation with, it's not a long conversation, but I have a conversation with them. And it's in a conversation cheat sheet that I have, but I go through questions, and it's basically a sort of a needs assessment. What are you looking for? What do you actually need? Because in my belief, we should not be suggesting that people buy starter kits just to buy starter kits. And like, we shouldn't be saying, oh, you should get this, this premium starter kit because it's $420 worth of value and you get it for $165 and blah, 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 blah. You guys, money doesn't sell things unless they understand what it means to them. Okay. So we have to like go through this needs assessment. Cool. What are you looking for? And then we know what they're actually looking for. And then at the end of that conversation, you can say, okay, cool. So based on what you just told me, what I would suggest is X, Y, and Z. Another important thing to do there is to set expectations. So I'm going to suggest X, Y, and Z because it works for a lot of people. However, I'm not a doctor. Everybody is different. So if it does not work the way that you're wanting it to work, then we're going to go ahead and try this other thing. You guys, if you don't set the expectation, if that doesn't work for them, they will immediately think that nothing at Young Living works, and that their little voice in the back of their head that was saying, oh, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. This is like everything else. Ba, 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 ba. Excuse me. That I choked on my spit. That was not that cough, just so you know. That was me choking on my spit for a second. Hang on, because I have some more. Okay. But that voice to them, it's going to reinforce that. It's going to be like, I knew it. I knew I just spent $200 on something and I got again. Right? Like that's their internal dialogue that's happening. What we have to do is we have to mitigate what's happening in their mind. Okay. So like what we do is, whenever they sign up, well, we set the expectations. Whenever they sign up, then what I do is, because I know what their needs were, I'll make them like a roller bottle of something that that goes alongside what they said their needs were. And I also will give them, if there's one available, one of the like life science books, you know, like the little brochure sort of books. There's like sports ones, kids in school, and babies, and there's all sorts of them, pretty much for like almost any kind of person, I think. So what I do is I find one of those that fits in with what this person's needs were. There's a couple reasons for that. One, it shows I was listening and that I care. Okay. And I didn't just give them this general essential oils 101. There's nothing wrong with essential oils 101, but if you can really get specific with their needs, it means so much more. Whenever you do that, you're letting them know that you care. And aside from that, they're also going to, because these books are amazing. So the books, as they read through them, they're going to find out about other products that are going to help them in what they're looking for. And that's not you saying, hey, buy this stuff. It's the book saying, hey, this is some stuff that other people are using, and this is why they use it, and yada, yada. It's a third-party resource. If anybody ever listens to Eric Worre at all in live, he talks about third-party resources. So it's that third-party resource that you bring in, and is, because it's in print, is already more valuable than anything you could say out of your mouth. It's just a thing. But those are the things that I do. Let me see if I answered anything else on the question. Hang on just a second. Oh, and then the follow-up. Yeah. So then I have a system of follow-up to make sure that they're actually getting what they want out of the experience, which then leads into them getting on ER if they aren't already on ER. So the first 90 days, I have a whole thing that I do there. The first 90 days, it's follow-up and making sure that they have what they need, and then suggesting ER whenever we've got a good thing in place. But yeah.
I love that third-party resource. I had not heard of that, and I have heard some things from Eric Worre, but I'm gonna I've heard his name pop up quite a bit recently, so I think I'm gonna dig in a little bit more. But it's very true. I'm just thinking about my own experiences with other companies, not even just like Young Living, but just thinking, so like I recently got married about 1.5 years ago, and just thinking like when I was shopping for when we were looking for bridesmaid dresses, which sounds like so silly, we went and like saw a couple different bridesmaid dresses, and I heard the lady, oh, well, you should do this because it's October and it'll be this and all this. And then she handed me a catalog which had every dress, every color, and then in the back it had reasons of why certain materials work better season. She's like, if you're in the summer, maybe don't go for these materials because they'll show sweat stain, like things like that. And I was just like, wow, there's a lot more to this than I thought of just picking out a pretty dress, but it informed my decision much better. And I knew that if I picked something that didn't flatter everybody or that didn't go for everything, there was other options that were right there. And I 100% admit that this woman talking in my ear did a lot less than this booklet that showed me, oh, why I shouldn't go for that. And so that kind of just rung true. That I don't know why that specifically popped up, but it's true that third-party resource, I didn't know that's what it was called, and I hadn't really heard of that. But now that you say it, it rings true, and I can think of other instances in my life where that has happened. And of course, why wouldn't that work for Young Living? And it's true. Sometimes you get sick of yourself. Or other people are like, okay, I hear you, but getting that, like, oh, I'm, a runner. This works for sore muscles, but so do these products. Like,
yes.
That's awesome. That's a great tidbit. I just wrote it down.
Yeah.
I have my whole page of notes right here, guys. I'm totally using this for my own gain as well. This is for you, but this is also for me. No, I have no qualms about saying that.
Oh man. Well, it's also, so like the third party resource is good for that reason. And then it's also good because whenever we say the same thing, and when you have a new person sign up, You're saying the same thing over and over and over again. So whenever you say the same thing over and over and over again, you cannot help but lose some enthusiasm. You cannot help but your voice kind of being like, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this. And the person on the other end of that is like, would she just stop? Like, I'm bored. So giving, like, you know what I'm saying? Having another third party thing means like you don't even need to say those words out of your face anymore, which is just fabulous.
That is fabulous. Yeah. True. So true. So true. You can only say things so many times before you're like, okay, did we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. What are 3 tips to find people to share the products or business with, or both?
All right. Now I need to make sure I match up with my notes here. So the very first one is engaging in groups on purpose. Okay. Not just going into random groups and friending people. I'm not saying doing that. That's like so weird and spammy and just weird. It's just weird. It's really weird. What you do is it's either on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, makes no difference. You're going to look for groups that your people would be in. So if you're not really totally sure where your people are going to be, things that I would use as your directives. The first one is I would stay out of, now you don't need to stay out of them for your own good, but stay out of them for your business. Is like the Krejci mom groups. The reason why is because, man, you would think that they are very different than what they really are. Because what they really are is like a lot of kind of like shaming and bashing and no MLM and stuff like that. And I get it because a lot of people do network marketing differently and are told to do like these weird spammy things. So they've like infiltrated these groups and turned them into like feeding frenzies, which is really just like unfortunate. And there are some groups that have gotten hypersensitive to it, and go figure, it's the mom groups that have gotten hypersensitive because us women are like, nope, not having that. That's not the purpose here, right? So, but the thing is even the people that mean well now are lumped in with everybody else, unfortunately. So, that's why I'm saying, like, don't just like not be in them. I'm not saying that at all. Like, if you're a Krejci mom, be in them. That's totally cool, but don't like try to build your business in them necessarily. Yeah. But the groups that you're looking for are like things that you do for fun. So recreation stuff. I'm in a Disney World group because we like Disney World. And it's just like, it talks about different stuff, like stuff that you can go do there. And, it's just fun. Like tips and tricks whenever you're there, like make sure you hit this up because this just opened or whatever. There's that, like maybe you like hiking, maybe you like skydiving. I don't know. But I just now got okay with getting in a plane. I'm definitely not jumping out of one. Aside from that, like, hiking, stuff like that. So recreational things. And what you do once you get in there is you give feedback. And so people are asking questions about these different things that you already love to do. So go ahead and get passionate, have fun with it, give them good feedback. Like if they're asking questions, answer their questions. You don't answer their question and then say, hey, do you want to buy a starter kit? That's like where things have gone awry. People have gone super sideways on like how they build their businesses online. And it's so weird. And that's why I think a lot of people like are afraid to do it, because they're afraid they're going to have to like be this weirdo that says, hey, buy my starter kit. That's not what you're doing, you guys. What you're doing is you're making friends and you're building relationships, and then you're creating curiosity, and then they come to you and they ask you questions and yada, yada. I've got a whole process around it. But that is the first thing, is the groups. Second thing is, what is it? Being consistent. So being consistent on social media. Okay. These are things, that you can do, especially right now. This is how I've built my business anyway, is online. So for me, this is totally and absolutely business as usual for me. But what you do is you just show up. So what showing up actually means, instead of its ambiguous definition, what it actually means is social media posts about what you're doing that day. Maybe it's you and your kids doing a puzzle, like what, ask your audience what they're doing, ask open-ended questions, that sort of stuff. But then also, and it's a good thing, like 20%, like a 1 in 5 ratio, to let people know, as soft education is what I call it. But you're basically showing them how you use Young Living in your life, and you're not doing a class on it. But it is soft educating. So I may be talking about, like I might do a Facebook Live. I think I'm going to do this later today anyway, of making my laundry detergent. Okay. And so I'll show them how I make the laundry detergent, and maybe I'll run over to the oil rack, grab an oil, put it on neat, because I can, but you can always suggest people don't, but put it on, and then put it back, and maybe just let them know what the oil was and why you put it on and why you like it. That, you guys, is better than any class you could ever do, because you've got people watching already. They're seeing what you're doing. They're seeing that you can use an oil off the shelf without mixing it in beakers, heated up to certain, that's like people's thoughts about essential oils is like that you have to be a chemist, right?
Yes,
and they
100%.
they don't realize, like, grab a bottle and like just stick that stuff on, right? And then and so you're making it accessible to them. You're lowering the speed bump or the barrier to entry, okay? And then, like, whenever you're making something, just kind of talk about I talk, for the laundry detergent anyway, what I talk about is the money saving aspect of it. It's non-toxic, so my body isn't going to have to fight it and everything else that's going on, right? But also, I save a ton of money. It lasts forever. Yeah, those are both two key points that people really want. We always need to keep in mind, when soft educating people, what's in it for them? What do they want? We're not selling stuff for us. What's in it for them? That's a very important thing. The third thing, I have to try to stay. Oh, pushing people in the pool. Oh, this is fun. Okay. Every time I say pushing people in the pool, people are like, oh my, well, she had me until she got violent. And so, and so back to Real Housewives. This is the Real Housewives coming out in me. So pushing people in the pool, very, very simple, and actually a graceful tactic. Okay? Pushing people in the pool is essentially when one of your members comes to you, and we get these messages every honking day of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. Oh my gosh, I can't believe, I feel so good, da 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 da, right? I lost 7 pounds or whatever. Like, that's awesome. So whenever they come to you and say that, instead of saying, okay, cool, will you go share that on social media, which is what people had been doing, what I suggest is do this. Say, that is so awesome. I'm so excited for you. Do you mind if I share your story on social media and tag you in it? And then they'll say yes or no. If they say no, obviously don't do it. But if they say yes, which 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. Then you say, okay, cool, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So then you share their story. I'm so excited for Susie Homemaker that lost 6 pounds this last week, da, 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 whatever it is, and then, or, she slept through the night for the first time in 2 years. That they can be like minute, small wins that, listen, if you can't sleep through the night, you see that and you're going to be like, okay, I need to hear how that happened. Okay. So, so you share that story, you tag them in it. Not only are your people on your feed going to now be able to ask questions in a different way than they could ask them before, because when you share your own story, people sometimes ask questions and they sometimes don't. But when you share somebody else's story, they have, the door opens a little bit more for them to be like, okay, how'd that happen? Right. Also, what it's going to do whenever you tag them is you have now gotten exposure on their own feed in front of their own friends, and they didn't post it, you did. So now their friends feel more open to be able to ask some questions, okay? Whenever the friends ask questions, what you do is you get into a 3-way chat. And that chat is basically you going through that consultative conversation, that conversation cheat sheet that I have. There's a link. I don't know how we're going to share the link. I can just
I'm going to put it on, so I have your PDF and I had it so that it's clickable. And then I was also put it in, I want you to, I'm going to put that little blurb in for your system and all of that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. In the body so that, people can access that system because it's gold.
Awesome. Well, no pun intended, right?
No pun exactly.
Or pun totally intended, and I like it either way.
Yeah.
So for the so then there's a link somewhere for you guys to click on if you want this. There's a discount of $70 off right now, you guys, just so you know. So basically you go through that conversation cheat sheet with the people. Now, it's important that you have all 3 of you in there. And the reason why is because you're in there as the authority and as the person that's going to sign them up. The friend is in there for support, but then also as that bridge, okay? Because you and this person you don't know, if you get into a messenger together, that's not going to probably work. Okay. But if their friend is in there with you two, then the friend is going to be able to say, yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I had this, da, 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 da. Like that's going to be how it goes. The most important part is that the friend, like the member is going to see you going through this questionnaire and asking them, and then basically either getting them signed up or getting them into a lead group, however it's going to work. So they're going to see how easy it is. And whenever you sign that friend up, what you should do, in my opinion, I'm not going to tell you how to run your business, but what you should do, in my opinion, is give that member the win. Let them be enroller and let them be sponsor and let them have that win. There's a statistic out there that for any network marketing business out there, there's a huge percentage, and I can't remember the number, so I'm not going to restate it, but there's a huge percentage of people of attrition or people that drop off within the first 6 months that don't make $1 off of the business, just $1. Now, that stat goes down a ton, like an insane amount, like 80% or something, if all they make is $1 in the first 6 months. So if you can push one person in the pool and you can, or if you can push, your person in the pool once and they can get somebody or more
than one.
I have my people asking me to push them in the pool. Like that's how my team is. They're like, hey, can you push me in the pool? They did that last night. Anyway. So, when you push somebody in the pool, you're giving them that win. So they've got longevity. Once they see and actually cash a paycheck, then it's real. Okay. Aside from that, it's numbers on a paper that has never worked for them before. But when they see a paycheck and they can cash it and they can use that money for something in their life, all of a sudden that's real and it looked pretty stinking easy.
Yeah.
So that is another way to build online. So that was long-winded.
That's okay. I liked it. It was helpful and thorough, and that's appreciated because sometimes I feel like we see these terms, like if you had just said, "Oh, I'm gonna go push somebody in the pool," I would have been like, "Wow, okay."
That's
like,
amazing.
Oh man. And then, no, long-winded was appreciated.
Okay.
And I love that concept of, and I love that you call it that because that's exactly what it feels like. But like you said, in a gentle way.
All in love.
All in love. But sometimes you just need that hand holding. And I think it speaks volumes to what you were saying about showing your team how you serve others, because they're seeing you firsthand witness, like, wow, she did that for me. It's not different or weird. She's not like, she's doing it for everybody to help them get what they need. Because ultimately, like, if we could have a personal shopper that helped us get what we needed for everything,
oh
man. I used to work for a bra company called Soma, which not like I think they're across the US, but I don't know how many there are. And their thing was personal shopping. Like the customer should have come in and you took over from there. Like they had
cool.
of walking through the door, and then from there what do you need? What can I help you with? And it was such a good experience. And I've been on both ends because I love their stuff. So I used to be a customer, and then I also worked for them for a while. So I knew what it was to be on the other end. The whole exchange was good because I knew that I was helping them get, like, guys, products are expensive. Just like good quality products can be a little more expensive. It feels good when you're getting something that fits right, and you're like, wow, this did what I needed it to do. And then you're like, money out the window. Who cares how much it costs because it fits? Like, oh, and spend now $80 on these bras because they fit perfectly. Just like spend however much I need to on Ningxia and however much I need to on Sacred Mountain because it's my favorite and I douse myself in it daily because I need it in my life and it works. So I love that you mimic that for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love all that.
And I want to respect your time. So we have a couple questions left, but I just wanted to time check with you. Okay.
I'm good. I don't have anything for another 40 minutes. So I'm good.
Okay. All right. What is one lesson that you have learned during this time, during your time in this business that has bettered or grown you as a person?
All right. Let me see. One lesson that I have learned. Let me find my notes here. I want to keep up with the notes here. Because I've learned so many lessons. I have to see which one I put down. So the biggest, so the biggest lesson, this was a hard one to learn, and it's a hard one to repeat because I want to say I have always been this way, but I haven't. So a hard lesson for me to learn was that sharing with the entire Young Living community is actually what fills my cup. What I was like before, so when I first started in the first 6 months in, it was very secretive. Our growth strategies were very secretive. It was like, don't tell anybody what we're doing, keep it close to the chest, which is what I feel like a lot of teams do. But there came a day where I couldn't even go to bed. I couldn't even, I literally had to get it out of my head. I had to write this course down. And then I wrote the notes in my phone because I couldn't get to sleep, which was like how I hit gold in 6 months. I don't know if anybody knows that or not. And so now I'm teaching everybody how to do it. But at first I was not sharing it with anybody. And then this night happened and I couldn't get to sleep. And it was like, you have to share this, you have to share this, you have to share this. And I was scared to death because I was like, if I share it, what if my growth goes down and everybody else's goes up? And from Team YL now, I'm like, what a goofball for thinking that. But you guys have to understand from my previous jobs and what I did as a business, I was a digital marketer, which is cutthroat. And I'm a business strategist, which is cutthroat. And it's very I was competing against, it's a boys club, right? I was competing against other people that weren't necessarily as good as I was, but they had different connections and stuff like that. So I always had to keep my own strategies very close to me. And there wasn't a lot of collaborating with other marketers because they were going to steal your stuff and take it. So it was like, I came from that mindset into Young Living, and it's almost like it feels like a very God thing, that my mind completely shifted. Like, I'm almost going to cry right now, that my mind completely shifted into serve all of these people in this company. Let's all move forward. Let's all grow. And it was a complete 180 shift for me. That is the biggest growth that I've ever had in my life. Not financial growth, not business growth, not any, my personal development, me as a person, because the way that I felt when I was keeping it all to myself, I didn't feel good. I was always scared. I was always scared somebody was gonna, loose lips McGee is gonna go telling stuff over here and like not even realize it. And I felt very like, I gotta keep this caged in, right? But the moment that I wrote it down in the notes in my phone, and then of course I still couldn't go to sleep. I had to go out into my living room. This is like 1:30 in the morning or something. I had to go out in my living room and actually write out the entire thing. We recorded it the next day and started it for sale. And then I felt good. And then I could start breathing again because I was suffocating. I was suffocating, and it wasn't just myself. It was suffocating everybody. I was teaching my team at that point that you keep things to yourself. Because again, it's from top down, right? Like, I'll be totally transparent. I'm not going to say everything has been awesome the entire way, right? Like, I did some things that were wrong. But I feel like we've made strides, and now we're where we want to be now. Like, now it feels really good. But that's the biggest piece of growth for myself, was being able to open it up to all of Young Living and be able to support everybody. And now I just feel good.
It's funny you say that, because I think I almost feel like that's a Young Living gift that so many people have been given, because I feel something very similar. Like, I felt when I first moved into this business, like, oh, I got to keep it closed in. Like, it feels, and it doesn't feel good. And I forget who said it, and I think I heard it from a Young Living person, to the point that this is actually the sign behind me in our kitchen, because I needed the reminder every day. It says, when you have more than you need, build a longer table, not a higher fence. And that so much, because, or the other one I think is like, be a river, not a reservoir. Like, those two kind of go hand in hand, because it's true. It like feels like when it's on you, but it's a hard mindset and a hard like lesson to overcome, because it feels like that's, I think, what we're taught as society, as girl, like, you keep it close to the chest because you're afraid it's going to run out. Like, something is going to run out and you are not going to have enough. And you go, I have to be my first priority, which really, I mean, you should be your first priority, because otherwise you can't fill others up, but in a different way. It's a different thing. So I love that you highlighted that, because it's an important lesson. And I think it's I want to say it's a Young Living thing. I'm sure there's other places where people learn that, but I know so many people that have had that same type of shift, and you laid it out so perfectly that it feels like, wow, it's a gift. It feels like a gift personally. Yeah. And I feel like you gave me chills. If you were going to cry, I was going to cry. I'm a sympathy.
I was getting there.
I can like cry on demand, like, sympathy pukers. Like I was like, oh God, don't do it. I'm going to tear up.
Please don't do it.
I know. Oh gosh. I got chills. Okay. So someone you have never met asks you what you do for a job. What is your answer?
Yeah. So I teach people how to have many income streams and feel really good about it. That's truly what I do.
Mic drop, walk away.
Good. And then the questions start, right?
Yes. They're like, income streams? Multiple?
Yeah, say what?
I always like asking people that question, especially in this business, because it can go so many ways, and there's no one right answer. And I've struggled with it, and I know a lot of people struggle with what to say, even to like just friends and family. Like, oh, my grandparents asked me last time I saw them, like, oh, what are you doing now? And I'm like,
which part, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I love that. All right. So you want to grow 10,000 OGB in your business. What is the first thing that you do to kick off your growth?
Yeah. So the very first thing is always to expand that audience. So you always want to bring in more contacts. Again, that happens with the groups. That happens with showing up on social media. Whenever we are free to roam around again, that happens in meetups and networking events, and just getting out there and doing things with people. It's always expanding your audience. If you want to grow your OGB, you need to expand your audience, period. Yeah. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I love that. And it's so true, because you can't really, once you kind of hit that goal, it's like, okay, where do we go from here? I also
Mhm.
show everybody that my coworker finally settled down.
Oh!
The whole time we were interviewing, I feel like I was snapping, like literally snapping at him to try and get his attention because he was bouncing off the walls. I'm like, I'm glad you finally joined me, sir.
That's hilarious.
Okay. Can you give me some of your top business mindset tricks? I think we already touched on this a little bit, so feel free to either repeat or point back. But
Yeah.
that is such a big thing for this business, I feel like.
Oh yeah, mindset's huge. So there's two things that I mentioned in my answer here. And one of them is to remember why you started. A lot of people, you're going to hear that a lot from a lot of people, and that's because it's really, really important. If you haven't read Start With Why by Simon Sinek, you've got some extra time right now. Go ahead and read that. It's fantastic. Or just grab his TED Talk, any of his TED Talks ever. He's got a really good mind. So that's just, it's a good leadership mind that he has. And then also remember that people that tell you that you can't do something, they're expressing their own limitations and not yours. Okay. So just reply with like, thanks for your feedback and keep moving on. There also exists a 5%. And if you followed me at all, like you know what I mean by 5%. If you don't, I'm going to tell you right now. So there's 5% of your audience. Well, let me just do this real quick. So there's 2 to 3%. This is my little pie thing that I do. So there's 2 to 3%. It looks like a windshield wiper too. 2 to 3% of your audience, anybody's audience, and this is a scalable number, okay? So 2 to 3% of your audience are going to, that's your low-hanging fruit. They're going to buy what you're selling. They're going to support you. They love you, all of the things. 2 to 3% of your audience, okay? And then 5% of your audience on this other side is are people that will not buy what you're selling at all. They do not care about what you're doing. You could literally make them look like a 20-year-old for the rest of their life, and they don't care and they're mad about it, okay? And the 5%, it's so weird, but the 5%, they get really loud. The 5% are often louder than your 2 to 3%, okay? So the thing that you should know here is that the other 92%, which is a massive number, you guys, the other 92% of your audience just need more information. So here's the deal. The 5% are loud, okay? The 5% sometimes, I'm going to say a lot of times, paralyze people. They make people feel like they can't continue. They make people feel judged. They make people feel small. They make people feel like they're on the wrong track. They're the people that are like, oh, those essential oils and da-da-da-da-da. That's your 5%, okay? Here's the thing. You need to understand the 5% for what they are. Understand, one, that they're always going to exist, no matter how successful you get. You're going to hit Royal Crown Diamond and you're still going to have 5%. But here's the deal. Your audience is going to be bigger and so is your 5%. Okay. So just understand that they're always going to exist. They never go away. What you have to do is you have to muffle them. You have to get yourself into a place where you are in service to the other 95%, your 2 to 3 that are low hanging fruit, but then also your 92%. Okay. So that entire other 95% of your audience, you're in service to them. The 5% need to be, basically what I do is I kind of just stick them in a shoebox and shove them under the bed in a virtual way in my mind. I'm just like, you know what? I don't have time for you. God bless you on your journey. That's totally fine, but you're not wrecking my day. Not only are you not wrecking my day, but my goal is Gary's goal. My goal is oils in every home. And if you're going to get loud about that and you're going to deter that in any way, your comments are going to get hidden. You might potentially get blocked. You will get muffled. Okay. If you're going to get loud in my space, you will get muffed. Okay. I will make sure that you get muffed. And here's the thing is that a lot of people don't feel empowered enough to do that. And the thing is, what will help you feel empowered enough to do that is again to go back to service to others. If you're here to serve 95% of the people, who gives one rip about what is going on with these 5%? Okay, they're not here to make anybody's life better. All right, you just need to know that they're there and carry on, keep moving. That's a huge mindset shift. Once you can call them for what they are, then you can keep moving and keep doing your work, and nothing else matters.
And I love that you said people don't feel empowered, because it's true. Like, we think, oh, I don't want to hurt so-and-so's feelings, or, oh, maybe I shouldn't, but truly, like, you need to protect your space. Like, and I love that saying that you need to be empowered to protect your sphere, like those 5%, like, and you hit it on the head. Like, they're going to get mad about it, which is like, yeah, for us, it feels silly. Like, I have this great mission. Why? And you want to get into the like nitty gritty with them, and you want to engage, and it's just also the 2 to 3%, I heard somebody call them the other day and I was cracking up. Your dirt list, you could be selling dirt and they'd buy it from you. Like, yes,
that's your 2 to 3%.
And I was like, that is hysterical, because it's so true. I'm pretty sure I sold like terrariums of dirt and worms to my mom and aunt and best friends when I was little, and there they were.
It's your 2 to 3%. God bless them. There they are. You just can't build a business on them. That's the thing. Yeah.
I love that though. And I have heard you say the 5% before, but I'm glad you said it, because it's such, it's something that like we are all dealing with, but it doesn't have to delay us or deter us.
Yeah. And I think that people feel like they're going to go away. I think that's a big thing, is they think that they're going to go away. So they're like, if I can just get through this now, then it'll be okay later. Here's the deal, is they're not ever going to go away. So just get used to it. Get used to handling it, because it's not ever going to stop. And I'm not saying that so like you give up because you're like, oh, they're not going away. Just learn to handle it, because they're not going to go away, but you're going to still be successful. They'll still be there.
They're in the shoebox.
Yeah, they're in a shoebox under the bed. Exactly.
All right, a couple more left. So while we're all quarantined, what are some things that we can do to support our members?
Yes, I love this. This is how I operate anyway. So it's almost like I'm always quarantined. Not that and I'm sure my husband just heard me say quarantine. He's like, stop telling people you're quarantined. You don't have it. So like, we all know I don't have it, right? But I don't have the thing. But that's it. Basically, what I do is I divide all of my own personally enrolled people and my orphans so I divide them by 30, and then I reach out to that many people per day. So I am always reaching out to my people that I've enrolled or that need leadership on my team every month. They're getting a message from me, and it's not, here's the promos. I'm not like, barfing promos on them. What I'm doing is I'm just saying, hey, how are things? Hey, I remember last month we talked about X, Y, and Z. How is that going for you now? Or how are things? We're just friends, right? We're just friends. And then at that point, they know that I'm going to be calling on them once a month. So if they have questions about something, they can ask me, because they know that I'm going to be coming around. And that's consistency that builds trustworthiness. That's that's network marketing, period, right? So that's what I do. And yeah, that's the biggest way that I keep my team engaged. I also have like my team Facebook groups, of course. And I do like the soft education. I do little contests, just stuff to keep things fun. But yeah, that's how I keep people engaged. But that's how I always do it. So this isn't any different. This is just how I always do things anyway, which is kind of why, in my opinion, the way that I do business is kind of the way of the future, because it can be done in any way. Yeah,
it kind of, you're echoing, I had an interview yesterday with Lee in Houston, which is also going to be in this group now, and is awesome. She was so lovely. And she said one of her favorite things about this business was how it moves with her. And I feel like you totally just echoed that, because we're in the middle of a crazy time that none of us really thought was going to happen, and your business as usual, because you built it that way. And I think that's like golden, because why, like, why wouldn't you want that? We just saw that all of these things happen. A lot of people are out of jobs. A lot of people are really struggling to keep their norm. I have a full-time job that I can work from home, and that's not Young Living. Like, I'm a nonprofit event coordinator, and I can do 100% of my job from home. And I'm still struggling because there's still some little pieces here and there that are kind of up in the air. But you're building, and you've built this foundation where that's business as usual, and that's beautiful. That is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, thank you. We like to travel, so we wanted to be able to build it around traveling. And we're unschooling our daughter as soon as she's out of Montessori school. We're going to unschool her, so we're just going to travel around, and whatever she wants to learn about, we'll just head that direction and learn about it.
And business as usual, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Do you have a niche for your business? Niche or niche?
Yeah, so I say niche, but yeah, it's very tomato.
It is.
My niche is additional income streams, obviously, and the fact that I lead with business. But aside from that, I have a strong niche in weight loss and wellness. So, I mean, and not just wellness, but like more specifically to weight loss, because that's my own backstory. Yeah. So, so those are my two niches: is more money, less pounds.
Slow down. Next headline. Right. I love it. And I wanted to ask that question because I also, same thing of wanting to prove that point that there's room for everybody, because there's a market in everything. Like, your niche could be your cat, which whatever, like there's things, and I say it because I'm staring at him because he's staring at me from over there. He's moved. I don't think I've ever mentioned my cat this much, and I have two in anything in my life. So I'm like, people are going to think I'm a crazy cat lady, but this is what happens when you're stuck in a house with them for days and days and days. But no, I wanted to show that everybody has a different niche, and people can have the same niche, and it's still growing. It's just, I wanted to give it a little background of why I asked that question. But and you kind of rings true for everything you said before of the additional incomes, which you're proving it, that's where your business is built, which is amazing. So
yeah.
Okay, two last questions for you.
Okay.
Why is this business worth it?
Oh, shoot. So with my background of being a strategist and digital marketer and all of the things, I've worked with literally tens of thousands of businesses, and they're brick and mortar all the way up to like the CEO of GoDaddy and stuff like that. So like, I've worked with all sorts of businesses. Our business is the best thing on the planet for a few reasons. One is there's no overhead. You don't have to buy anything to sell anything. Okay. We spend $100 a month on stuff we're going to buy anyway. So literally I'm in business for free. I mean, kind of, I guess I can't say it's free, but I'm going to spend the money anyway. And then also the products that we have work, right? How many people are out there selling stuff that either is just weird or it doesn't work, like a company that's name says it should work.
Yeah.
That's just funny. I was just making jokes now, but our stuff actually is helpful. And being a crunchy mom anyway, to begin with, like, my daughter's never had processed sugar. She's never had gluten. Like, we don't, and she's 5. We don't mess around with that stuff. And for it to be aligned with a company that is also like that, means that company gives a rip about what we put into our bodies. And that really it's not just selling stuff. It really is helping people be better. Better versions of themselves, and whether that's from a wellness aspect or a wellness and income aspect, either way, it's helping. So there's that. And then there's obviously the products that we have that nobody else has, right? So Ningxia Red, you can't get it anywhere else, you guys. It's not bad for business. And the CBD that we carry, If you're in a place that you're able to get CBD, you guys, our seed to seal guarantee or our seed to seal promise on CBD and anything, if you're not familiar with how, just super quick, if you're not familiar with how a hemp plant works, it scrubs the soil, okay? So if you don't have this seed to seal promise, which is that chemicals have not been used on the soil for 50 years or more, if you don't have that, then basically any hemp plant is going to suck the toxins out of the soil. And then what? You're going to use the oil? What's that doing, right? Yeah. So like it's all super important in things that are technically the Wild West, right? So our business just rocks. It just rocks. And then I have met so many new friends that I am certain I will have for the rest of my life through this company. So whether you're joining the company or whether you have joined the company for products, whether you join the company for income, or if you join the company for community, understand that all three of those things are actually going to rock your world. That it doesn't matter why you joined in the first place, all three of them are going to rock your world in one way or another. It's this company has got it going on.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, like if Young Living were to disappear tomorrow, which it won't, the community is like, I will have these people for the rest of my life. And there's like no better person than a Young Living oily person. Like it's crazy. Like I could cry myself right now. The people that I've met through this company, on top of everything else, like, so worth it. All right. Last one. Can you give some words of motivation to those who feel like giving up?
Yes. So if you feel like giving up, remember your goals. So what did you intend to do with this? So here's the thing is if your why isn't strong enough, like if you really feel like giving up, what that actually means is that your why isn't strong enough. That's really what that means. Because if your why is strong enough, and I'll go into this in just a second, but if your why is strong enough, then it's going to get you through your low days. All right. That's the entire point of it. Here's a why that is strong for me, and I believe is going to help pretty much anybody out there. If your why is internal, you can say, well, we'll just put that off. Because what do we do, especially as women, right? What do? Is we say like, oh, well, I'll put myself and I'll take care of them first. And our whys need to be external. Our why needs to be how you're going to take care of your community. Our why needs to be the Christmas presents you plan on buying for 20 families this year. The why needs to be like taking care of people, because that will keep you going. And especially for us as women, this is how we're wired, you guys. It will keep us going if we're taking care of somebody else. So my why specifically is to be able to help feed people in my local community organic food that is actually good for them instead of processed crap that is hurting them and hurting their systems and making them more susceptible to diseases and things like that. So that's my why, is I want to be able to give back in that way. If I don't have the funds to be able to give back in that way, that's my fault. I dropped the ball. I need to build my business so I have enough funds to be able to give back in that way. That carries me through those lower days, right? So if you feel like giving up, what you need to do is you need to think of that greater why. Think of the way that you want to serve. How do you want to serve? That's really what it comes down to.
You give me chills because it's true. that I think we sometimes go, oh my gosh, I hear it, I get it, I have to think of my why, but it is so important. And it cracks me up because you're right. Like as a woman, we definitely tend to put others first, and I'll put that back here for myself, and let me take care of you. But so having it be out there as well is a good like leading guiding factor is what I should say.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we are at the end of our interview. I was going to say any last remarks, but thank you so much for doing this. And any last things before we wrap up?
Yeah. So last remarks, are just going back to the 5%. So pay them no mind. Sometimes they're unfortunately very close to you. Sometimes they're your family. Okay. You have to learn to silence the chatter. Your mission is bigger than their opinion, period. Mm-hmm. What you are here to do in this world is bigger than their limitations that they are putting onto you. Okay. So that is it. I just want to like just solidify at the very end. It's like sealing everything up with an understanding that anybody that gets loud or makes you think you can't do this or whatever, put them in their place and then move forward and just run. Just, this is a machete and run forward.
you know those teddy bears you can get from like Build-A-Bear where you record record that little last comment and just like click his paw every time, because I think that's, I mean, I will speak for myself. That is like one of my biggest hurdles is like that whole, and it is close. Like I will say my dad is like the most supportive man in the world, but he does not care about this business. He thinks it's a load of crack. He can't stand the smell of the oils. He won't use the products. He's just like, my mom loves Thieves cleaner, and he's just like, oh my God, he's like, I'll support whatever you want. And I actually told him the other day, I was like, when I get to Diamond, I said, can I make a bet with you? I said, when I get to Diamond, I want to put an oil on you every day for a month. And he was like, oh no. And then he agreed to it. So now
good.
Obviously, now I have to get to Diamond, obviously.
Yes.
But he is so close to me. He's he's my best friend. My dad, I talk to him almost every day. And he's like, I have to put that down in the box and put it away because
it's hard.
Whatever you want, but not that. And I'm like, oh, you don't get it. And that's fine. But sometimes it doesn't feel fine. So I want to like record that in a teddy bear and just be like, but thank you for touching on that. Cause I think it's something that we all battle with and so important as a reminder. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. I have pages of notes again. Kind of selfish, but I'm so excited we get to share it with everybody. This was so good. Thank you, Martha, so much. I'm going to link your stuff I'm going to link your PDF so people can read your answers, and then I'm going to link your Go for Gold. Martha is an amazing creator, amazing leader, guys. Go for Gold is one of her programs that are just like, like there's no physical words for it. It's just like, wow. So good. So definitely go take a look at that. And thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you so much.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. This has been great. I love what you're doing here. I appreciate the step of leadership that you're taking here right now, because it's absolutely necessary. So I appreciate that.
All right. I'm going to click off and